everyone. Welcome to Simon Scott Assembly Hall for the first and second round games of the NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Championship. Congratulations to Miami on advancing to the championship bracket, and best of luck during your stay in Bloomington. As a reminder, the open locker room portion for Miami will run simultaneously with today's press conference from 3:45 to 4:15. Currently at the dais, we are joined by senior Haley Cavender and graduate student Destiny Harden. We will take questions from in the room first, and then followed by questions on Zoom. If you're joining us on Zoom, please use the hand raise feature, and we will get to you. Questions from in the room, raise your hand. We'll get you a microphone. Please state your name and your outlet before asking your question.
Ladies, my name is Ed Holdaway from Hammond Communications. What's this journey been like, just the season leading up to this point, and just how's it come to, like, hearing your name called on Selection Sunday and getting in the bracket? So how's it all come to be?
Haley, why don't you take that one first?
Okay. It's been really exciting. Obviously, I transferred here, and just starting this journey with this team, this coaching staff, it's been so exciting, so fun along the way, and just blending with the team. We've had a really successful season, and then being able to hear our names on Selection Sunday. This is my first time in the March Madness tournament, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, just to piggyback off what Haley said, I think it's been fun. It's been fun learning each other. A lot of new faces on the team. Just been fun on and off the court, doing a lot of bonding things. And to hear our name called on Selection Sunday, it was exciting, as you guys could see from the ESPN. But yeah, we're just excited to be here, ready to play, and just ready to get some wins.
What would you guys attribute to your team's success this year? What are the things that you think as a team you do well, and what are the things that you guys need to continue to build on to have success in the tournament?
I think something that we bring is we're really well balanced. We have a lot of people that can step up. That's hard to scout. So just a very well balanced team. We play really well together. I think we play really hard on the defensive end, and I think that we can just bring that into the tournament. Rely and just play good team basketball.
She took my answer, actually. I was going to say the same thing. Just our bench is important to us, so I think that's something that stands out with Miami basketball. As anybody can have a night here. We're a very balanced team. We're very efficient on the defensive end, and we bring that to the tournament. Then we will be a very hard team to beat.
For both of you, and Destiny, why don't you start? 15 days between games. What is this team focused on? What's been the mentality of this team leading up to not only Selection Sunday, but now being here at the site?
Staying connected, and it was a lot of off-the-court things, just staying with our chemistry that we have. A lot of practice we had, just keeping our offense efficient as we are for the 15 days, and just making sure we're still bonding and staying connected is the most important thing.
Yeah, like Des said, I think just taking the things we needed to learn from the ACC tournament and improving on them, shifting our focus to the March Madness tournament, and just staying together. I think just showing up every day in the last 15 days and just working on the things that we need to be done is what we've been focusing on.
There haven't been a lot of different starting lineups for you guys, but there have been a lot of different contributors. March Madness inherently is a place where the unsung hero usually helps you advance on. Is there any one specific person on the team that you can point out that's been that person all year that's kind of seemed to come up when you've needed them, or is there anybody else on the team you think deserves to get a little more credit maybe than they do currently?
The bench is, you look at all the people on the bench, and all of them had a surprise game every single game in our ACC conference. So I don't want to just say one name because everybody had a surprise game every single game. Our bench, that's why I said we are efficient and off the bench. So I don't want to just picky point one person because anybody can have a night on our team, starters or the bench.
Have you been able to take a moment to just kind of take everything in and just enjoy the experience, or has it been just kind of a rush of even though you had the layoff between the end of the conference tournament and now, but have you been able to just kind of take in the moment, or is it still kind of a rush and getting ready for games and preparing for your next opponent?
Go ahead.
I think it's a little bit of both. Yesterday we got to go to the Monmouth game, and that's when I was like, okay, it's March Madness time. But yeah, I think just being present, being where my feet are, and just experience this all as a team. I think it's super exciting. But yeah, a little bit of both, I'd say.
I say a little bit of both, but more on enjoying the moment right now. Just it's been my last dance. So personally, I just been taking it all in. You know, being with my team, being able to be around the coaches for the last dance, stuff like that. But also knowing that it is my last, and knowing that we can get a couple wins. You know, being in the number 1 seed, we're kind of got the advantage about this number 1 seed. You know, so we feeling kind of good.
You're two of the more veteran players on this roster. It seems as if it's a graduate and a senior, or a freshman and a sophomore. How have the older players on the roster been able to help the younger players maybe navigate some of the ups and downs of the season that you've seen so far?
I would just say not being too high, not being too low. You know, as a freshman and a sophomore, they have a big game. They get a little big-headed, but, you know, just kind of try to humble them down and just say, good job. And, you know, got to keep pushing as being a veteran on the team. You know, like I said, there's a lot of people that can do a great stuff for us. So just keeping them high when they have to, and not too low. But just definitely just stand together with them and leading them on the way.
Yeah, I think I'm new here too, but I just try to stay calm. As a point guard, I think that's what the team needs. So staying together through the highs and lows of the game, and just keeping everybody on the same page.
Are there any more questions in the room? If anyone on Zoom has a question, please hit the hand raise button. If not, ladies, thank you for joining us. You can go join your teammates back in the open locker room period.
Thank you.
And we will have Coach on the dais at 4:05. Dais, we're joined by Miami head coach Katie Meyer. Coach, welcome to March Madness. If you could please make an opening statement, and then we'll take questions.
First of all, I want to thank Indiana for hosting. I've had the pleasure as a coach of doing it a couple times. It's a lot, and I just want to thank everybody who's stepping up and volunteering to help host this great tournament. So that's number one, and then number two, I want to thank my team. I mean, we went through a lot this year, and they are tough. They're gritty. They fought really hard. They stayed together, and I'm excited for them. I hope we play our best game of the year coming up tomorrow.
Great. We'll now take questions from the room. If you have a question, raise your hand. We'd ask you to get your affiliation and your name before asking your question.
Ari Schifrin, Assembly Call. I noticed that both the Miami men and the Miami women are in the same bracket as the Indiana men and Indiana women.
Yeah, right.
How unusual is that to have two matchups, potentially Miami, Indiana, in
Yeah.
the second round for both?
Yeah, our athletic director was at the selection show, and when he came around from the men's and came over to us, and that's something that we talked about. I was like, hopefully, right? Hopefully, there's that a scenario where might be playing each other, but we got to take care of game one first, for sure. A great opponent. We got a great opponent.
Holly Warlick, ESPN. Coach Myers, good to see you. Describe your play, kind of your journey to really get here.
Right. Yeah, I think the evolution of our team this year has been phenomenal. We returned what you would say is 4 starters, right? So it looks like, okay, you just replaced Kelsey Marshall with Haley Cavender, but we lost a ton of veteran post play last year, a ton, and they were smart and they were tough and they passed and they found each other, and to have so much youth in our posts and how important Kyla and Z have been, and both of them have had injuries this year, so they're just playing well, and then they kind of drop off for you. Or Kyla we didn't have for our first 11 games, and she's a star, and Lazari Spearman's a star. They're very, very good. I wish we had a full year with them where they could play through everything, but I think that's been the patience of like some of the guards who are like, just some of the reads in the post and all that. I think that's been one of the bigger growth areas of our team, which isn't really being talked about, is that where do they want the ball? How do they want the ball? Are they going to finish? Making sure they don't foul on the defensive end and all that. And we've been like waiting patiently for those two to really become the stars that they're going to be. And I think that's where Destiny and Haley referenced, how they did so much just keeping the team together, like staying together, not getting frustrated, and staying patient with each other. And it's been a heck of a learning process. But we had a lot of new, and the new players are really good. It's helped us.
What is your feel on Oklahoma State?
Yeah, I was not very familiar with them, and I watch a lot of basketball, but I hadn't seen a lot of them this year. I don't know who was calling that Big 12 tournament, but the announcers didn't know what they were doing. No, I learned a lot from the announcers in the Big 12 tournament when I watched. No, but they're so smart, and they're balanced. They're balanced in a different way than we're balanced, I think. They're balanced like consistently 10, 12 points a night from consistent players. We're balanced in a way where someone off our bench might go for 20, and then the next game they might only be able to get 4 based on the schemes or something like that. So our averages look like we're balanced, but they're within the course of a game, whatever shot's the best shot for Oklahoma State, they find it and hit it. So I'm very impressed with them, and I really think their defense is high level from what I have seen, personnel scouting, they do a fantastic job. It's a compliment to their staff.
Brenda Van Lingen, ESPN.
Trent Grimm, independent.
Can you just speak to Destiny's leadership and how valuable she is to this team?
Listen, Destiny Harden so we're both from Chicago. We took her home this year to play at Loyola and at DePaul. But it took me home too, and the Cavenders are from actually very close to here originally. And when we played those games, we had in DePaul gets a good crowd. We had more fans cheering for Miami in those 2 games because of the family. And Destiny has just always been family to me, and her family. And I remember the home visit, and you walk in a home visit, and there's like 20 people in the home visit. You're like, I like this kid. I love this. And that's just been kind of always just very raw, very authentic. And so when she represents me in the locker room, or she represents me in front of the team, she does it in a way that there is absolutely no layers. It is the raw truth, and she's got, Coach just said blah, and she's supportive of the messaging, and just a very honest, honorable person. She is just a wonderful human being. And when she first came, learning the system and understanding where the wrinkles were for her, she'd miss some stuff once in a while, but she would just come with those big eyes and just be like, film, let's go, and just sit there and just learn and absorb and absorb and absorb and absorb. So because she has to play an instinct. So it's been so great the last couple of years to see her have her moments where everything's clicking and she's just playing on instinct. Great question.
Coach Greg Campbell with Indiana, when you look up and down your roster, it's kind of a microcosm of what college athletics is right now. A lot of experience, but also a lot of youth, a lot of players that you recruited straight out of high school, and a lot of players that have found their way to Miami through different avenues.
Yep.
How were you able to blend that roster together and find yourself in the NCAA tournament this year?
I think one of the things about me and my staff, we're going to come at you pretty honest, pretty straightforward from jump, and the people that respond to that don't really have a hard time blending in. I'll back up some of my proclamations with good analytics and statistics, but listen now, we do we'll run practice, and I'll just grade the shot, and even if it's a 3-pointer that goes in, I'll be like, that's -10. That's not your shot. Like, what are you doing? Like, and it's not to kill anyone's confidence. Someone misses a beautiful shot, and I'll be like, that's +10. That's the shot we need, whatever. But I think as a coach, when you can take some of that burden off, and no one's like wondering, like, did she like that, or does she have a favorite? No, I'm not like that. And I think our team's now not like that, and everybody just sort of blends in and does what they can do. But it's pretty raw information as quickly as you can get it. If I'm frustrated, I don't hide it. If I'm elated with them, I don't hide it. And then when people come into the culture and they thinking of transferring and they see this, like, wow, like this is no BS. It's real, and there's a lot of love and a lot of emotion in our program, and I'm proud of it.
When we watch Miami basketball, what will we see? What is your style? What is your philosophy? I mean, what do you lay your hat on?
It's so hard, when you play in such a great conference, right? And my God, the ACC. We've had some injuries with postseason. I hope, but the conference this year, and I'm 18 years as a coach, 5 as a player. I mean, I can speak on the ACC a little bit. It has never been harder, the gauntlet of the season. Now, we've had some better teams at the top, or, that were like, my first year, we had 3 of the 4 teams in the Final Four. On my first year coaching, I wanted to go right back to Charlotte. I was like, what have I done? But it has never been harder. And you kind of lose your way a little bit, being honest, as a coach. You kind of lose your identity, because every fourth quarter the game was on the line of every single one of our games. It was incredible. And I never had time to go, let me try this lineup, or let's get back to let's just make sure we get our pace up. Like, it was coach. And so this time off has been good for us, I think, to kind of remind ourselves, okay, this is what we do, because it was a matchup, conversation, like 40 minutes of, 18 games, and it was a lot. It was a lot mentally for our kids, and a lot emotionally for them as well. And I think now, we got a fresh opponent. They won't know us as well as playing Florida State 3 times a year, and maybe we'll kind of get our identity back a little bit.
Being in the 8-9 game last year, what did you learn from that as a team, take from that you can use this year?
Well, once again, we're in this situation, but we're also one of the few teams in the country that has a win versus a 1 seed. And last year, I think we had 2 of them, 1 of them, 2 of them. So I think maybe we're kind of known as a team that has the ability to beat a 1 seed if given it. But what we learned from last year was that this 8-9 game, these are the juiciest, best games of the tournament. They are fun. Both teams are hungry. You don't look forward at all. I mean, I haven't seen 1 second on the other part of it. I have been 100% on Oklahoma State because it feels like, and they're going to feel the same way. We've been in these games for 2 months. It's another one of those games.
I've asked this at several different sites when I covered last year. Would you like having the top team host this site, like Indiana's? Obviously, you don't have to play them right away, or would
Right.
you prefer it be on neutral sites from the beginning, like it is for later in the tournament?
Yeah, well, I've been on both sides of that, and one year we went to Iowa and won the first round and lost to Iowa, and the crowd was, and I said, and my team was like, but I don't like this, coach. And I was like, well, then win more and host. So I'm never going to complain about the setup the way it is. You got to win more games. You got to earn the right to host. We've hosted twice. It's important. I do believe we're pretty darn close to not needing to fill the seats with the hosts, but I would bet you that we'll play better tomorrow if the crowd stays than we will if they leave.
Coach, go ahead.
Coach, you've coached in a number of NCAA tournaments. Does your message differ from tournament to tournament, or does it stay fairly consistent? In what was your message to your team coming into this tournament?
Yeah, the message is always very different depending on my team. This team's a little more wide-eyed. Like there's a lot of this is our first, and our veterans. I have 3 captains, right? Lola, Carla, and Destiny. And all 3 of them actually transferred in, right? But on selection show, I had them sitting with me, and I leaned over and we hugged, and I was like, how many NCAA tournaments you've been in? And Lola says, 1 at Miami. Carla, 1 at Miami. This is my second. And Destiny, only here. And I said to those 3 kids, I said, so you had to come to Miami to get to the tournament, huh? And then I immediately said, but the truth is, we wouldn't be there without you. And they need to have that veteran feel. We need a lot from them. Then they're also doing a great job of making sure that the young players go ahead and be young, go ahead and be first time, go ahead and enjoy it. But when we sit on you, we're going to sit on you, and then you got to sharpen up and have some discipline. So they're doing a great job of that.
Coach, you spoke on the 6 or 7 days since the selection show and focusing on Oklahoma State, but what were the 6 or 7 days between the end of your ACC tournament and knowing you were in and that you had your spot in March Madness? What were those like with your team, just maybe preparing?
Well, yeah, we did Camp Miami. Some of my favorite times as a coach. I love to get back into the construction zone or the lab or whatever people call it. I call it camp. And just cleaning up the timing, cleaning up the fundamentals. I did a whole postseason project of our last games from at Louisville on, and analyzed everything and put it all together and realized that we had gotten sloppy. We were sloppy. We were so worried about why we were running the play, and if we had that matchup or whatever else, that our passing and our catching was horrible. And it happens. So that was fun for me. I don't know if it was fun for the players, but when it's so fun for a coach to structure all these really competitive drills too. I mean, if you got 13th place, you ran 13 sprints. If you got 12th place, you ran 12. And then who you won that drill, you pick your partner. Now we got 2-on-2. You win that, now we go 3-on-3. You won that, okay, now we go 4-on-4. Compete, and don't pick your friend. Pick whoever you don't want to have to run. And that's what we did for a couple days, and I think it really woke us up and elevated us.
Anything else in the room for Coach? If not, does anyone on Zoom have anything? If so, use the raise your hand feature. We have nothing on Zoom, Coach. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Just a reminder that Miami's practice will begin at 4:30 p.m. It will be open to the media for the first 15 minutes, and the media room will remain open through 6 o'clock p.m. this evening.